Hey everybody, I'm back for another video, and guess who's with me?
Mad Nomadder!
Mad Nomadder! And we're going to go check out the Adaland Mansion here in Philippi, West Virginia, just outside. So, come on, let's check it out.
Let's go.
Front of the house. So you came in the back door.
Oh, okay.
It all began here around 1807 when a man by the name of Charles Modisette came here with his 11 children and 9 slaves. When they both died, Charles and Francis Modisette, the next son that was here, took over the farm. And that was Uriah. And Uriah was a Baptist minister. But it was Uriah's son who built this house here. He wanted a mansion on the hill for all to see. And he married Nancy Stout. Now, she didn't want the house up here because they had to carry water and wood up the hill. So his dad was still living. And about that time, the barn was built. This was prior to the Civil War. And so Uriah sold a portion of the land to his son. So then Uriah later passed on, but Augustus planned his house up here on the hill. It's 4 bricks thick, interior walls and exterior. You won't find studding in the house. All the bricks has been made right here on the property from the clay. So he didn't fight in the Civil War. He paid 2 men to go fight in his place. And so he didn't fight in that war, but he paid 2 men to go fight in his place, and as far as we know, they both came back. Augustus completed his house after the Civil War, and he was sheriff of Barbour County. He hadn't fought for the North or the South, so he was a good candidate for sheriff of Barbour County. So he was appointed sheriff after West Virginia became a state. Now, West Virginia became a state right smack dab in the middle of the Civil War, so in 1863. So anyway, he only got to live in his house about 11 years, and he went down behind the barn and to check on some lumber, and it fell on him, and he died as a result of it. So this was 1881. His wife stuck it out here another 5 years. And so then after that, she sold the house and they moved to Rushville, Nebraska. They found out they could get free land under the Homestead Act, and women could get it too. So they all moved to Rushville, Nebraska. And today that ranch is the Ted Turner Ranch. So the house was sold to a gentleman by the name of Ezra Zare from Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. And he'll own it 30 years but never live here. Ellsworth Robinson, and he'll own it for 30 years also. So now he's the one who did the updating on the house, the electric lighting. He put running water into the house, a hand-dug well, and he put the first bathrooms in the house, the indoor plumbing. Go down to the basement next.
Oh, all right.
So you can get a shot of the bricks.
Going down to the basement. Oh, this is cool. Low ceiling. Watch your head.
Yes.
Watch your head, guys.
Okay. Here you can just see the brick. This is a good place to get the brick, a picture of the brick. Now, I told you Augustus Modisette had went down behind the barn and a low lumber fell on him and killed him, and his wife and family moved to Rushville, Nebraska. So she took all of her belongings on the train to Rushville, Nebraska. And the things you see are things of the period, not things of theirs. We have no original pieces. The washing machine is an 1858 washing machine. And that is a child's toy. Well, now, this is probably early 1900s. It's probably a Sears and Roebuck, say, because it has a 3-year warranty on it. Sears was one of the first people to come out with warranties. Of course, all that replaced this, the washboard. Of course, here, this is a canner. What they would do, put the fire in the bottom, fill the top with some water, and they canned in the blue jars. Now, the blue jars came in numbers 1 through 13. You got a baker's dozen. If you find a 13, it's going to be worth a little bit more money today because they quit making them in 13. Mm-hmm. It was easier to package. And of course, a lot of people thought 13 was an unlucky number. So bootleggers let them put their whiskey in a 13. So, the ladies made a can in a 13, so a lot of them got broke up.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, if you was out in the field on Roundup, you would take this little tiny pot with you, the cook would, and would be able to cook a pot of beans over an open fire. Now, the house sits on cut stone, and the stone was cut at a nearby quarry. And one of the best times for cutting stone was the winter time, because if they cut it in the summer, they had to pound through it. But in the wintertime, they could pound holes in it, pour water in it, and then when it freezes, water expands, and that causes the stone to crack on its own. Now, the joists in the house are all walnut, and all the walnut came from right here on the property. And of course, the copper kettle would be used to make apple butter. Apples was one of the Modisette's commodities here, and they probably made lots of apple butter each year. They also made apple brandy or apple jack, probably down behind the barn in a still.
There you go.
In here, this room would be where the emancipated slaves, and I say emancipated because the first 2 sets of Modisettes had slaves. Augustus set his slaves free prior to the Civil War. And so many of them were hired back and helped continue to run the property. So this is a cooking fireplace. The mantle in this fireplace is an original mantle. Now they would just build a handful of fire here in the bottom of this fireplace, enough just to keep the pots boiling. Now we have the blue willow on the table because Judge Robinson ate off of the blue willow. Now he'll own the property from 1920 to 1950. And so he names it Adaland after his wife, Ada Sensel. Now this room in here, I told you Augustus Modisette was sheriff of Barbour County. And this room may have very well been a room that he would have held prisoners in until the judge came through to prosecute him, or he may have, or till he could have taken them to town. So you can see the little windows, and they may have been put in there to keep the slaves or the emancipated slaves safe. This way no one could crawl in, no one could crawl out. A coat hanger, one of the neat things about the coat hanger, it's made to hang flat against the wall. Now most houses didn't have closets in them because they had to pay taxes by room. And if you had a closet, it was considered a room. So you had to pay more money. So nobody had that many clothes back in, so they easily hung them behind a door. That's why most of the old houses today do not have closets in them. Or board on just whatever they had. This happens to be a slab of wood, and they use spools and thimbles. So just whatever they had to play checkers with. And so the last owner will own it. Her name was Virginia, and we called her Kitty Clevenger, and you probably know that name, Virginia McDonald. And so she buys the property, buys herself a Cadillac. Her husband has died. She's came into some money, and so she can't drive the Cadillac very well. So, and it was nothing to see her out in the field with her Cadillac or hauling some animal in the back seat or the trunk to the barn.
Oh, wow.
So she thought it was a cattle truck. But anyway, anyway, so she down the pond down there. Now she would take a dip in that pond before she'd come to the house because she wanted to be clean. And so I understand she had boards put down in that pond so that when she stood up, she wouldn't get mud between her toes.
Oh, wow.
So, and of course, you know, if boards are put in water, that preserves them. And so they're still down there. But then someone told me they thought it was just the fishing dock had fell in. So who knows? But anyway, she owned the property till 1972. Now she liked on the weekends to take her Cadillac and go right up Route 50 and go to Washington, D.C., and she would go to parties up there. And one time going up there, she met a gentleman by the name of John Massesso. She hired him as her chauffeur because she couldn't drive that Cadillac very well. So he came back here and was her chauffeur, and he eventually married her, and they were married about 8 years, and she divorced him, willingly paid him alimony, and sent him off to Philippi to find a young wife and have children. So anyway, she kind of remained the grandmother figure in their lives, and they remained in contact, looked out for her down through the years. And when she died, she willed the house to her ex-husband, John Massesso. So anyway, she was the last person to live in the house. I believe John did stay here some for a while, but he quickly put it up for sale, and he sold it to the Hillman Coal Company. So I believe about $13,000 was what he had it up for sale. You know, so in 1972, that was a lot of money. This room here where the house sat empty after the coal company moved out for about 20 years, it became a state of disrepair, almost got tore down. A group of ladies decided that it was worth saving, that we needed this place. they went to John Baldus and they asked him to donate the house to the city of Philippi. So he donated the house to the city of Philippi, and by then it had been placed on the historic registry to protect it from being torn down. So a lady by the name of Darlene Ford in Grafton had been doing a lot of history on it. So when she came on board, they were able to work together, and we were able to find out a lot of the history from her, and then we've just added and researched to find out more. So it was the red pauper room when the Modisets was here. About 3 layers down, when they were restoring, they found original wallpapers, were able to get samples, and they took them to Clarksburg to someone who could help them pick out a period design wallpaper. Notice the boards are cut wall to wall. That is so the floor does not squeak. I'll accept this in here.
It's always that one.
Now them men came in here after supper, closed both doors, and they talked business. And here was, I'm calling this their brandy cupboard. So they would have had their brandy cupboard here, and they would have been in here probably sipping their apple brandy or apple jack and talking business. And I told you I watched a lot of Gunsmoke. Anyway, someone disagreed with the outcome of the meeting, and he blew a hole in the floor.
Oh, okay.
He drew his pistol. Outside staircase has been here since the house was built, and the thing that they cut on it to preserve it was linseed oil. All of their walnut that's in the house also had linseed oil on it. We have our weddings here. Usually the bride and groom take their first dance down here on the bricks. The partner who built this house was James Deaver Porter, and he was an area boy. He lived around here, and so he built this house. He was very good at what he did. If you notice the spindles, one long and one short. And something else to look at, he would have used like a little template and I carved all this out by hand.
A lot of work there.
Yeah. Because they didn't have electricity back then. And notice how long this board is. So, of course, it's walnut. And they would have used linseed on theirs, but we have clear coated the steps. You always have to stop, and it's a good place to tell you about the chandelier. The original chandelier is not here. Someone has taken that, and some coal company person probably, I heard that it was in someone's house in Kentucky, the coal barons. So anyway, this chandelier was donated to us by the Hugh Myers family and Addison Broadus College. and it originally came from Germany. Have not had to clean it. That's the gardener's job. Of the original light.
Oh, okay. The one light that you got that's original.
Well, we got one in another room. I'll
Oh,
show
okay.
you it.
Oh, that's right, you said too.
Yes. This is where our brides come to dress. They don't get to stay overnight, but they can use this room. They usually come in on Friday evening and deliver some of their things. And then Saturday they come in and get ready for their wedding. Now, the bed is an 1850 Renaissance revival bed. It has two matching pieces, the dresser and chest of drawers. And it was donated to us from the Cheesemans from Clarksburg. And they said if you take the bedroom ensemble, you need to take Grandpa, the owner. And there he is in his little dress, Alan Cheeseman. Back in the day, zippers had not been invented yet. And it was easier for little boys to go to the bathroom in a dress than it was to put pants on them and button them up, and then they can't get them unbuttoned because they only put like 7 or 8 buttons on there. He took one large bedroom and made 2 bathrooms. So on the other side of this wall is the other bathroom. Now the thing to see in here is the commode. Okay, the commode is made by the Bailey Farmall Manufacturing Company of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's before 1940 because Pittsburgh got its H around 1940. So, and you get your H by population. So, on your burg.
Oh.
So yeah, I say it's a grant, but this thing is original and it does work. The judge's bedroom, and we decorated it with nature in mind. And the furniture is a 1940s Art Deco style of furniture. Go this way. Okay, this is the servant's wing. Servant's wing back through here. This is the other bathroom. And here is the original tub. It was not a clawfoot. This would have been the head cook's room, but we felt we needed a child's room somewhere in the house, so we chose this room to be our child's room.
All these dolls are from the same time period?
Yes, they're older dolls, yes.
I'll check this doll out.
Again, they're all donated from someone who's had them. He owned the piano here, the organ. And every once in a while we get someone comes through that can play it.
Not me. I'm not the guy.
And the furniture up here is is really old too. We do have the wedding dress from the lady that got married down here, the first wedding that took place. So that dress would be about 119 years old. Around 1932, 33, somewhere in there. And he practiced law from here in the house. Now, he redid the fireplace in here too. And of course, put the oak flooring down. This is Judge Robinson, the man who owned Adaland. So if you look at the picture over there on the wall, the original road was behind the barn, and the road you came in on was in front of the barn. So they had to build a road up here when we restored the house. Typewriter is truly a hunt and peck system. Notice the black keys are uppercase and the white keys are lowercase, or vice versa. I might be backwards on them. This is all about Judge Robinson, and it's sponsored by Judge Moats.
Oh, wow. This is death mask, huh?
Yes, Bartlett Funeral Home over in Grafton was asked to make that because he was a prominent person. They felt that if they needed to do a statue of him, then they would have an original face. And he was the FCC chairperson for the radio. He also worked with getting the I want to say Panama Canal opened. He was a part of that. He also worked with getting Mother's Day established.
Okay.
And this is the outside of Adaland Mansion. Used to go by here all the time when I was a kid, and I always wondered what it looked like inside, and I'm glad I got a chance to go today. And I really thank the people of Adaland Mansion, because they are actually closed this time of year, but they opened it up just for us to come by and tour this beautiful mansion. So I thank you so much for letting us come in and check this place out. Great view from the top of this hill. Check it out, guys. Very beautiful. Alright, so that was the video, folks.
Subscribe to the Mad Nomadder.
Hey, thanks very much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Have a great one!